We use leaders with arrowheads when we point at things, and these arrowheads are the standard size and shape that you also use with your dimensions. Here is an excerpt out of the source document, out of the ASME standard for you. This illustrates really the two basic rules for leaders. They should be sloping, and they should have a horizontal shoulder 1/4 of an inch long. It's okay for leaders to cross extension lines. In fact, it's hard to avoid a lot of the time. So this is totally fine. If you possibly can, try to avoid crossing the dimension lines, the ones with the arrowheads, but crossing extension lines, that's okay. And the general rule about the slope of the leader line, people say between 15 and 75 degrees. And can you think about why we would need to have it sloped? If you think for a moment, you might realize that if it were vertical, up and down, or if it were horizontal, side to side, somebody might mistake it for an element in the part itself. We make it slopey so it clearly stands out as not an object, it's a pointy thing. So what does this 15 to 75 degrees mean? Here's a shaded diagram here drawn by someone who's on the ASME Y14.5 committee. What it really means, here in the upper left corner, I've illustrated a leader that is at 15 degrees and a leader that is at 75 degrees. But what it really means is 15 degrees above or below the 0 line, or 15 degrees to the left or the right of the 90-degree line. It's just within 15 degrees of either of those straight lines, within 15 degrees or more. You can have a 30-degree angle, a 45-degree angle, a 60-degree angle. You just can't be any flatter than 15 degrees in any of those directions. In the next slide, next set of slides, we'll look at chamfers, but I wanted to just point them out here too. When you point at a chamfer, a chopped off corner, you want the leader at an angle, so somewhere between 15 and 75 degrees, and you want to be pointing at the surface. It could be like the example at the bottom or the example at the top, or you could have the leader down below, but you want to be kind of perpendicular to the surface. So here are the two examples on the left, as opposed to not doing the two examples on the right. You can see the top example on the right is not pointing at the chamfer. It's not perpendicular to the chamfer. And the one in the lower right is really not good because it's almost parallel with the chamfer. So what you want to be doing is pointing into the surface of the corner that got cut off. And just a reminder, I know we've seen this before, but just a reminder, you often use a leader when you're talking about repetitive features like multiple holes or multiple chamfers. Just a reminder that you have how many, then an X, and no space. How many, no space, X. Then you do have a space, and then the size of the thing. So for example, if you had 2 half-inch holes, you would say 2x space diameter 1/2. And the X is always capital. So there you go, basics of leaders. In a subsequent video, we'll look at doing